Money. Some have it, some don't. Some have mastered its silent rules, while most spend their entire existence desperately chasing its ghost. But if you think money is just a game of cold numbers, spreadsheets, complex mathematics, or an equation that simply needs to be solved by a computer, you have already fallen into the deepest financial trap in existence. The real, catastrophic financial decisions that shape your destiny are never made inside a bank, away from human emotion. They are made far from calculators. They are made around dark dinner tables, late at night when the bills are piled high. They are fueled directly by raw human ego, toxic pride, unconfessed fear, and the haunting ghosts of your personal history. The true, unyielding nature of money is a violent, silent dance between the cold, mathematical arithmetic of a spreadsheet and the messy, chaotic reality of human nature. When it comes to wealth, we are deeply complicated, deeply broken creatures. Financial success is not an intellectual game about how much you know. It is completely about how you behave. And behavior, unfortunately, is a very difficult thing to teach to a desperate mind. Welcome to Primal Capital. Today, we are not going to look at charts. We are going to delve deep into the strange, dark, and profoundly human side of money. Because until you understand why your brain tricks you into staying poor, you will remain a slave to a system you cannot see. Block 2. Financial DNA and the Generational Curse. 145.4. We all come from radically different generations. We were raised by parents who earned vastly different incomes, held deeply conflicting values, and lived in entirely different corners of a volatile world. We were born into distinct economic environments, faced with varying incentives, and handed vastly different opportunities. Because of this truth, we all possess a completely unique, subconscious financial DNA. Your entire perspective on wealth was forged in the fire of your formative years, shaped by events you had absolutely no control over. Take, for example, the brutal mechanics of the stock market and the invisible theft of inflation. Consider a person born in 1970. During their crucial teenage years and early 20s, they watched the S&P 500 increase almost tenfold. It was a golden era of expansion. To their eyes, the stock market looked like a magical machine that effortlessly generated wealth. Naturally, they grew up with an aggressive, positive view of investing. But now, look at a person born in 1950. As they entered their formative 20s, looking for a way to build a future, they watched the stock market go absolutely nowhere for an entire decade. It was a stagnant graveyard of capital. To their financial DNA, the market was a dangerous casino designed to rob hard-working people. No book, no chart, and no modern advisor can easily erase that deep-seated fear. Look at the 1960s generation. They experienced the violent, suffocating grip of hyperinflation during their youth. They saw the value of a hard-earned dollar evaporate in real time. They became hyper-aware, permanently scarred by the economic instability. Contrast them with the generation born in 1990. They experienced relatively low, stable inflation for the majority of their lives. To them, inflation was a theoretical concept in a textbook, leading to a dangerous lack of concern, until reality finally hit. Every single human being justifies every financial decision they make based on the limited information they possess at that exact microsecond. Their choices are filtered through a rigid mental model of the world passed down by their parents and reinforced by their unique scars. They might be terribly misinformed. They might lack basic data. They might make catastrophic, self-destructive decisions that look insane to an outside observer. But to them, in that exact dark room, their actions make total, absolute sense. It aligns perfectly with their personal story of survival. As Morgan Housel brilliantly stated, people do some crazy things with money. But no one is crazy. We are all just acting based on the programming of our financial DNA. Block 3. The Cold Arithmetic of Compound Kings. 4.645. There is absolutely no doubt that Warren Buffett is universally considered the greatest investor to ever walk the earth. His name is synonymous with wealth. But almost everyone completely misses the staggering, dirty little secret behind his multi-billion-dollar fortune. As we speak, Warren Buffett's net worth sits at over $84 billion. But if you analyze the math, an unbelievable $81.5 billion of that fortune was earned after he reached his mid-60s. Think about that for a moment. If he had retired at a normal age, nobody would know his name today. The world pays endless attention to his investment strategies, his philosophy, and his stock picks. But few pay any attention to the simplest, most brutal fact of his life. Buffett's fortune isn't due to just being a good investor. It is due to being a good investor since he was literally a child. He began seriously investing at the age of 10. By the time he was 30, he had already amassed a net worth of $1 million. He didn't just understand investing. He mastered the counterintuitive, godlike power of compounding time. Let us look at the raw math to understand why the human brain cannot comprehend this concept. If you invest $1,000 at a steady interest rate of 8%, your initial investment earns you $80 after 1 year. It feels small, almost insignificant. But the next year, you compound the new total of $1,080 at that same 8%. Now you earn $86.40. You have officially earned money on your initial investment, but you have also earned money on the interest itself. When an investment is compounded over decades, it gains interest on top of interest on top of interest, creating an exponential upward curve that eventually defies human imagination. Because our brains think linearly, we completely underestimate how extreme the final results will be. Let us play with an alternate reality to prove this point. Imagine Warren Buffett behaved like a normal young man in his 20s. Imagine he spent his early income traveling the world, buying nice cars, and enjoying his youth. If he had started with a modest net worth of $25,000 at age 30 and retired like a normal person at age 60, while still generating his legendary, masterful average return of 22% annually, do you know what his net worth would be today? It would be roughly $11.9 million. That is 99.9% less than his actual wealth. His skill was investing, yes, but his true explosive secret to world-class wealth was nothing more than time and longevity. To understand how staggering this is, let us look at another giant, Jim Simons. He is a genius hedge fund manager who has compounded money at an unbelievable, mind-boggling rate of 66% annually since 1988. His rate of return completely destroys Warren Buffett's 22%. He is mathematically far more skillful. Yet, Jim Simons' net worth is roughly $21 billion. That is 75% less than Buffett's fortune. How is this possible? Because Simons did not find his true stride in investing until he was 50 years old. He gave his capital less than half as many years to compound compared to Buffett. If Jim Simons had compounded his money at 66% for the same amount of time as Warren Buffett, his net worth would be a number that the human tongue can barely pronounce. 63 quintillion, 900 quadrillion, $781 trillion. Never underestimate the power of compounding. Wealth is not built by chasing the highest, riskiest return today. It is built by being consistently excellent for an uninterrupted, exhausting period of time. Block 4. Luck and Risk, The Ghost of Microsoft, 645-930. In the year 1968, there were roughly 300 million high school-age people living on planet Earth. Out of those 300 million individuals, a tiny group of only 300 students attended a small, secluded school in Seattle called Lakeside. Lakeside happened to be the only high school in the entire world that had a leader with the incredible foresight to lease an advanced computer, the Teletype Model 30. This was no ordinary machine. It was a highly advanced system that even the majority of university graduate students did not have access to at the time. And for one lucky, extraordinarily intelligent student at Lakeside, that machine changed the course of human history. That student was Bill Gates. If you calculate the math, in 1968, there was roughly a 1 in a million chance of being a high school student with access to a computer. Bill Gates took that 1 in a million opportunity, combined it with his monstrous work ethic and genius mind, and created Microsoft alongside his brilliant friend, Paul Allen. Gates himself is deeply humble about this reality. In 2005, he openly stated, "If there had been no Lakeside, there would have been no Microsoft." But there is a dark, tragic chapter in the early Microsoft story that history desperately tries to forget. There was a third member of this young gang of high school computer prodigies. His name was Kent Evans. By all accounts, Kent was just as intelligent, just as visionary, and just as obsessed with the computer as Gates and Allen. Bill Gates himself admitted that Kent was the best student in the entire class. Kent Evans was destined to be a billionaire founder of Microsoft. But he never graduated high school. Before he could finish his studies, a sudden, brutal mountaineering accident took Kent Evans' life. Do you know what the statistical odds are of a high school student being killed in a mountaineering accident in the United States? It is roughly 1 in a million. Look closely at the terrifying symmetry of the universe. Bill Gates experienced a 1 in a million stroke of absolute luck that propelled him to world dominance. His best friend, Kent Evans, experienced a 1 in a million stroke of absolute risk that ended his story before it could even begin. Luck and risk are identical twins. They are like the wind and the waves that determine the ultimate course of a sailboat. The sailor can fight the rudder, adjust the sails, and work until his hands bleed. But the final speed and direction of the vessel are heavily influenced by invisible, external factors that can never be fully controlled or predicted. When you see someone achieve astronomical financial success, or when you experience sudden, devastating financial ruin, remember Kent Evans and Bill Gates. Success is a complex, chaotic combination of talent, effort, luck, and risk. Realizing this truth will grant you the ultimate financial superpower: humility and perspective. Block 5. The infectious obsession with pessimism. 9/30/12. Optimism is a beautiful belief. It is the steady conviction that the odds of a good outcome are in your favor over time, even if there are painful setbacks along the way. But when it comes to the psychology of money, the human brain holds a deeply toxic, infectious bias toward pessimism. We embrace fear far more passionately than we embrace hope. If someone tells you a specific stock is going to rise 10x over the next decade, you will likely wave them away, calling them a delusional scammer or an irresponsible hype beast. But if someone with a suit and a serious face tells you that the economy is on the verge of an unprecedented, catastrophic collapse, you will stop what you are doing, turn up the volume, and read every single word they write. Why do we treat pessimism with such deep respect while treating optimism as a joke? Because of a fundamental law of nature. Good things take an immense amount of time to build, but bad things happen with devastating speed overnight. Destruction is fast. Growth is incremental. If the stock market crashes 40% over the span of 6 months, it creates immediate, terrifying headlines that capture the attention of the entire world. It triggers emergency government intervention and dominates the evening news. But look at the other side. A massive 140% gain in the market over 6 years happens so slowly, so quietly, that it goes almost completely unnoticed by the masses. Think about modern medicine. Every single year, 500,000 American lives are saved by the slow, quiet, monumental progress of medical science over the last 50 years. It is an absolute miracle of human achievement, but it happens too slowly to ever make a front-page headline. A plane crash, a terrorist attack, a sudden natural disaster. These things happen in a fraction of a second, and they command our total focus. The economic news cycle is designed to keep you terrified because fear sells. There are countless overnight tragedies in the financial markets, but there are absolutely no overnight miracles. To break the invisible trap of poverty, you must train your mind to look past the loud, immediate panic of the news. Hold on to the cold historical fact that despite temporary economic winters, things naturally improve over time for those who refuse to sell their future out of fear. Block 6. Bling True Wealth V's. Being rich. 12/13/45. It is absolutely crucial for your survival that you understand the profound, massive difference between being rich and being wealthy. Most people spend their lives destroying their future because they confuse these two concepts. Being rich is highly visible. It is about your current, immediate income and the flashy objects you choose to display to the world. It is the lease on the shiny new Lamborghini, the massive diamond rings, the designer clothes, and the oversized mansion funded by a dangerous mountain of debt. It is a loud, desperate cry for validation. But true wealth is completely invisible. Wealth is about the financial assets you have yet to spend. It is the money in the bank, the investments in the market, the real estate assets, and the equity that you choose to leave untouched. Wealth is the option value of a future you haven't spent yet. True wealth isn't what you see, it is what you don't see. When you see someone driving a $200,000 car down the street, the only data point you actually know about their financial life is that they have $200,000 less than they did before they bought the car. Or they have a massive monthly debt obligation that keeps them awake at night. We are conditioned by a consumerist society to believe that having money means spending money. We look at rich role models who spend lavishly because their spending is easy to see and imitate. But true wealth requires immense self-control, quiet restraint, and the ability to say no to temporary ego boosts. The first-class upgrades you decline, the luxury watches you don't buy, and the flashy lifestyle upgrades you intentionally ignore. Those are the exact stones that build the fortress of your wealth. The only way to truly become wealthy is to actively choose not to spend the money that you do have. Richness offers you a temporary illusion of status today. Wealth offers you something infinitely more valuable: absolute control over your destiny tomorrow. Block 7. The admission fee and the hedonic treadmill, 1345-1530, the ultimate CTA and engagement loop. Imagine you are standing at the base of a massive snow-covered mountain. Your ultimate goal is to reach the peak and admire the breathtaking view. Before you take your first step, you are under no illusion. You know there is no golden escalator that will carry you safely to the top. You understand perfectly that the climb will bring freezing rain, agonizing blisters, and moments of intense exhaustion. You accept that uncertainty and risk are simply the heavy price of admission to see the view from the top. But when it comes to building wealth in the stock market or business, millions of people genuinely believe they can get something for nothing. They want the peak, but they refuse to pay the price. Think of it like buying a brand new car. If you want that car, you have 3 distinct options. You can pay the high retail price and buy it new. You can find a cheaper, used model with less performance. Or you can choose to steal it. 99% of civilized people would never choose to steal the car because they know the long-term consequences far outweigh the temporary thrill. Yet, when it comes to investing, people try to steal from the market every single day. They try to get massive 12% annual returns without paying the price of volatility, fear, and uncertainty. They play dangerous games, attempting to perfectly time the market, selling right before a predicted dip, or buying into a hyped boom. They treat the emotional pain of a market drop as a fine or a punishment, rather than seeing it for what it truly is, an admission fee. If you want to build true lasting wealth over the next 30 years, the price you must pay is not just measured in dollars and cents. It is measured in your emotional capacity to endure volatility, ignore panic, and survive fear without breaking. The market's fee is worth paying, but you must be willing to stand in the cold rain without quitting. If you don't learn when enough is enough, you will spend your entire life trapped on the hedonic treadmill. Every single time you hit your financial goal, your ego will simply move the goalpost further ahead. You will earn more, spend more, and remain just as miserable and trapped as you were when you had nothing. Look at the catastrophic downfalls of ultra-wealthy men who had everything, yet ruined their lives committing crimes just to chase a few more millions. They climbed a never-ending ladder because they didn't know how to define the word enough. Do not fill a bucket with a hole in it. The highest dividend money can ever pay you is the absolute freedom to do what you want, when you want, with whoever you want, for as long as you want. That is true wealth. Everything else is just a trap. If you have read this far, if you understand that money is a game of behavior rather than math, and if you are ready to break the invisible trap holding you back, I want you to leave your mark right now. Prove to the algorithm that your mind is active. Write the words "I am free" in the comments below. Let it be a legal testament to your financial discipline. Subscribe to Primal Capital. Protect your time. Pay the admission fee of the market. And never let your ego dictate your wealth. We will see you in the next documentary. Stay sharp.